Now, another thing that happened over the weekend was every 28th of January set aside to celebrate Data Protection Day. This day serves as a reminder to companies about their regulatory obligations, and more importantly, it reminds data subjects about guarding their data and asking more from companies they share their data with. In the world of today, when everything is done virtually, your data is very important. We've heard of identity theft, among other things, and it's guarding against all this. Also remember, at the beginning of this year, we did bring a conversation that cyber risk is at the top for businesses in the year 2023, even more than the political violence and all of that. But Nigeria, of course, joined in that celebration, and all through this week is going to be a week of intense focus on awareness creation in the area of data subjects' rights, and it's being held by the Nigeria Data Protection Bureau. That's why we have the Chief Executive Officer of that bureau joining us from our Abuja studio. We have Dr. Vincent Olatunji. Dr. Olatunji, good morning, and thank you so much. Well, congratulations on, first of all, the data celebration over the weekend. And then number two, I think you're almost a year now that your bureau was created. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well, I mean, congratulations also come with asking, in 1 year, what difference have you made to the landscape?
Thank you very much. As you're aware that the issue of data privacy and protection is still emerging in Nigeria. And this is because as a developed nation that we're trying to join the rest of the world to properly utilize our processes and from government, private sector, and whatever we do online, which is really important. One thing that is really important there is the issue of identity, which is the foundation of digitalization. When the Bureau was created on the 4th of February 2022, it was clear that we needed to create awareness in the country for data subjects to know their rights, and for data controllers and processors to know their obligations to data subjects. So we commenced a massive awareness campaign, especially in the public sector, because we discovered that the level of awareness on compliance in the public sector was lower than the private sector. In fact, there was a survey we carried out last year. From the public sector, it was just 4%. So we tried to start from the public sector, and between when we were established and now, we've visited over 50 ministries, departments, and agencies to create awareness and for them to comply with the provisions of the Nigeria Data Protection Regulation. And we are happy that the level of awareness in the public sector has really increased. A lot of MDs have now appointed their data protection officers, and in terms of compliance, that has really increased. Another thing that we have done is the issue of capacity building. One thing that is really important in this sector, it's a global issue that whatever you do here in terms of capacity, in terms of compliance, has to be at par with your colleagues in other parts of the world. So we're embarked on massive capacity building, one, for the staff of the Nigeria Data Protection Bureau, even up to the level of certification. And we also went some MDAs to train their staff, their data protection officers, to introduce them to the subject matter, and for them, we put them through in terms of what they need to put in place to ensure proper compliance. In addition to that, we've gained global recognition in terms of data privacy and protection, because a lot of countries now, they don't want to do any business with you where you don't have your data protection laws and your data protection authority, supervisory authority in place. So in that area, a lot of countries have now realized that Nigeria has a law and the data protection authority, and they are already doing a lot of business with them. More importantly than that, we are preaching the ease of doing business in Nigeria, and this is one important component, more importantly, where you do businesses online. And in addition to that, in terms of collaboration in the private sector, with international development partners, with government ministries, departments, and agencies, we've entered into a lot of memorandums of understanding and collaborations, partnership with a lot of organizations to preach the gospel of data protection, data privacy and protection. So now the sector is worth over 5.5 billion naira in terms of gross earning for the sector. Before we started, it was just 4 billion. Now, the last 1 year, because of our efforts and what we've done in several areas, that has increased to 5.5 billion. Also, in terms of job creation, when we started, we had about a little less than 8,000 jobs in this sector. Now we are doing about 9.5 jobs that we are creating. So within 1 year, we're able to create about 1,500 jobs, because it's a new sector, and we need to build enough capacity for people to be able to perform their functions in the sector. And we are working with licensed data protection organizations. These are organizations that we license to carry out data protection compliance for organizations in both public and private sectors. When we started in February last year, we had just 103 licensed data protection organizations. We evaluated them, and we had to revoke some licenses. I think we revoked about 19. So now we've added additional 48. So as we speak, we have 138 data protection compliance organizations offering compliance as a service to government agencies, private sector organizations, schools, and so many organizations. So that has increased the people that are working with us, and the number of jobs that have been created in the sector. So we have created awareness, we have built capacity, we have increased revenue generation for the sector. We have increased, we have created job and wealth in the sector. In terms of international recognition, we have been positioned as a major partner in terms of collaboration when it comes to the issue of data protection and privacy.
All right, Dr. Latunji, just before you go on, Dr. Latunji, let's bring it down to the people. I hear you talk about creating awareness, and I hear you talk about ministries and MDAs. But I do know that the larger population is out there. You have people in the rural area, even in the urban areas, you have individuals. As the bureau in charge of data protection, we in some parts of the world now, they're talking about individuals even selling their data because they use it for advertisement, they use it, to create products and services. How much do Nigerians know about their rights when it comes to their data? Or in fact, just tell us, what are some of those rights that Nigerians should know when it comes to their data?
Thank you. That is the most important thing in the area of data privacy and protection. That is for data subjects that they should know their rights. And it's a two-way thing. For a lot of organizations, if you are a data controller, in one way or the other, you will definitely be a data subject to some other organization. For instance, if you work in the financial sector, you will be a data controller, that is your organization. But your telcos, you are a data subject there. So where you work, you're a data subject. So it's really important for you to know your rights. One is your right to be informed. That is, any data they want to collect, you have every right to ask why they want to collect your data and for what purpose. For how long do they want to store the data? How do they want to store it? How do they want to process it? Are they sharing with a third party or not? All these are basic things that they should inform you ideally when they are collecting your data. Also, you have the right of rectification. That is, if there is any mistake or you need to update your records, you have that right. So that your data controller, your data provider should give you that right to have access to be able to update your records. Right of access, which is really important too. At any point in time, you can ask to access your data with your data controller. There is right of portability. It was a common term in Nigeria some years back when telcos were directed to allow their subscribers to move their data from one service provider to the other. That is, you can port, which was a common term then. You can move your data from your data controller to the other. You have that right. You have the right of erasure. That is, if the purpose of that, of collecting that data is no more important to you. You can actually tell your data controller or your data processor to erase your data. You have the right of that they can say, okay, right of refusal to say, okay, don't profile me for automatic profiling, data collection and process your data. You also have that right to say, okay, I don't want that. So these are some of the rights that are available to the data subject. And that is work, that is what we are to preach for all Nigerians, whoever they are, to know their rights. And we already work with a lot of organizations. We have visited NTA, we have visited NOAA. NOAA has offices in all the 774 local governments in Nigeria, and we are discussing with them on how we can take this message back to our rural communities and even develop information awareness materials in local languages where they can properly understand.
So Dr. Olatunji, in the case of a bridge, of any of these rights, what can that an individual or, you know, a business do?
In the case of any breach, the data subject has the right to report to the Nigeria Data Protection Bureau, which is the supervisory authority for data protection in Nigeria. When they report to us, we will take us the case promptly. And we are glad to report that within last year, we've investigated about 5 major organizations. We've concluded some cases. Some have even paid their fines. Some are still ongoing. You know, investigation takes a long process. For instance, the Meta fine that was issued by the government of Ireland just about a month ago, they actually started this investigation in 2018. So it takes a long time for you to start, complete, and conclude on investigations. So in the last 1 year, we've investigated about 5 organizations, some in the telecommunication sector, some in the banking sector, some in the gaming industry. We've concluded some, and they've actually paid their penalties. But one thing that we're trying to say is that we're not really out to issue fines, to issue penalties, to punish people or organizations. What we're trying to do is to create awareness to the level that data controllers, data processors will now see compliance as a culture, that they owe us, data subjects, the duty of care to ensure that they put in place adequate measures in terms of technologies, in terms of the organizational measures, that the data of data subjects with them is adequately protected.
Okay.
So that is the message, and that is what we're trying to.
All right, Dr. Vincent Olatunji, a nice place to drop it there. But I mean, this is something, as you celebrate your week, especially, that Nigerians will hear more to help them understand their rights and how to protect it. Dr. Vincent Olatunji is a National Commissioner and Chief Executive Officer of Nigeria Data Protection Bureau. Thank you so much, and congratulations once again on your first anniversary.
Thank you. God bless.
All right, we'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll talk about food and feeding. They just finished that Feed Africa Summit in Dakar. What are some of the lessons there? How do we apply it in Nigeria? We'll have that conversation next.